Right. Hello, everyone. We've got a new set of people now. First of all, Chase, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Very good, thank you. Itamar and Carla, how are you guys doing?
Hello,
Really
hello.
good.
Very good.
Excellent.
How are you guys?
Good, good. Itamar, I've seen you being very busy in the Q&A section, keeping everybody fully up to date with all the latest. Thank you very much. So today, Chase Reiner is going to be our main speaker, and he's going to be talking about how to raise a YouTube channel from 0 to 36,000 subscribers. Just a quick reminder, these sessions are all being recorded, so replays will be available. But if you are joining us live, make sure you use the chat to tell us where you are in the world and, of course, to ask our guests questions. We're going to try and answer as many questions as we can after the presentation. Now, there's one more session after this, which is how to get your first 1,000 subscribers as quickly as possible with Rob Balasaba, so make sure you stay tuned in for that one. Now, of course, as well as Chase, again, we have our expert panelists, Itamar and Carla. So I'm going to get everybody to just introduce themselves. Chase, as the speaker, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yeah. So what's up, everybody? Thank you all for being here, by the way. And if you're watching this later, just want to say thanks for rewatching. My name is Chase. I have a YouTube channel that I was going to talk to you guys about today, how I grew it. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Awesome. Good stuff. Carla, let's go for you next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carla Marshall, and I am head of content at vidIQ, which is an analytics and YouTube channel management tool and platform. I have been in the space for probably 10 years now, so hoping to answer a lot of questions about YouTube growth and audience development today. Thanks, Luke.
Awesome. And for those that don't know, Carla has years of experience at a very high level. So she is a gold mine of knowledge. Peck her brain as much as you possibly can while she's online. And Itamar, same for you. You've been on YouTube since 2008, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's when I first started. I think I was probably 9 years old or something like that at the time. But, you know, YouTube's a great platform. And hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in. So I'm Itamar Blauer, and I'm an SEO and video marketing consultant. And I'm really, really excited to get this session started.
Awesome. Great stuff. Now, we've all had a little bit of a chit chat before this event, and we've all had a bit of a sneak peek into what Chase is going to share with us today. And I have to tell you, it's fairly unique approach in terms of growing a YouTube channel, so it should be really interesting. So on that note, if everybody's ready, I think Chase, you can take it away.
Cool. Well, yeah, let's do a little screen share. I said I wouldn't do a presentation, but I did a tiny bit of a presentation. And the reason why I generally try to stay away from presentations is because I want people to interact as much as possible. So that includes everybody that's in chat, everybody who's on this panel. You know, feel free to interrupt me, ask questions. I don't want this to be a me thing. I want it to be an us thing. So that's really what I'm going to be talking about mostly today, is how to take your mindset sort of from the optimizations. We'll just take it away from a second from how do I optimize a title tag? How do I optimize a heading tag or you know, a keyword tag? And how do I optimize for the user? How do I really make it about you? Because again, at the end of the day, a lot of the reason why people are watching this is because they want to get something out of it. So I really want to give you the best thing that you can get out of this as much as possible. I don't want to make it about, oh, go buy this, go get this from me. It's not about that. So for the next hour that we're on here, I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm just telling you my opinion and what I think might be helpful for you for this hour. So let's get into it. And again, you guys feel free, totally allowed to interrupt me at any time. I don't want you guys to think that like this is a Chase Reiner show here. It's an us show. So let's do it that way if that's cool with you guys.
Perfect. Let's go.
Cool. All right. And if everybody's excited, you know, one of the things that I really preach about is engagement. If you guys are excited about this, I want to see some likes come in on this video. It helps get me pumped up. It helps everybody else get pumped up. If you have comments, just say, hey, what's up in the chat? You know, I like to see that engagement. A lot of these algorithms these days are based off engagement. So the more you guys engage, the more this gets promoted to other people. So let's do it. So from 0 to 36,000 subscribers with little optimization. And what I mean by little optimization is that I'm not necessarily optimizing for the search. I'm optimizing mainly for the user. All right. So before we get into this, you might be thinking like, who the heck is this guy, right? This is just this Chase guy. And by the way, I just want to let you guys know, I actually get really nervous. I do a lot of live streams on my channel, and sometimes I'll get a couple hundred people watching me live. I feel perfectly fine. I don't feel nervous at all on my own channel. As soon as I get on other people's channels, I start to get nervous because I know a lot of you probably don't know who I am. So my name is Chase. I enjoy helping marketers and businesses optimize their online assets to bring in more traffic and sales. That's kind of the gist of it. But my main goal is really to optimize people's mindsets. I'm really into helping people sort of change their mindset around what optimization is, right? Because you can optimize a website, but when it really comes down to it, when somebody hits that website, how do you get that person the best experience possible when they hit the website or when they hit your video? Or, how do you get people to really feel good about themselves and good about the thing that they're interacting with? So just a quick history about me, and we'll move on to what I'm talking about, just so you guys know a little bit who I am if you've never heard of me before. I began my online journey about 4 years ago when I inadvertently fell in love with the idea of optimizing businesses to show up on Google and other platforms. I just loved the idea. I used to be an IT guy. I'd fix computers. I really liked optimizing people's computers. As soon as I found out about SEO, I was like, this is the thing for me. I love the idea of building things. I like the competitiveness of the environment. I like talking to people who like optimizing online businesses and their own lifestyle. I just overall love it. And I've been fortunate enough to help little to big brands. Some of them, you probably never even heard of these names, but there's a few that you might have heard. Built with Science is actually a company that I was able to rank for things like bicep workouts, full body workouts. They're actually on Google right now ranking for those things. I took a website called Our Sleep Guide from 0 organic visitors all the way up to like 30 to 40,000 visits a month, doing bed reviews. They're making a good amount of money doing affiliate stuff. I just recently ranked a website called Roof Repair Squad #1 in Houston, Texas for roof repair. ClickSkeek, it's iPhone Repair Santa Barbara. These are different businesses. The only reason I'm telling you this isn't to brag. I'm just saying that I like doing this stuff, and I've been able to help a lot of people. I've been fortunate enough to broadcast a lot of the stuff that I do on YouTube. Most of my videos on YouTube are just me going through and being like, okay, guys, today I'm going to try to rank for iPhone repair. And then I go and do it on video. By the way, do you guys want to say anything before I keep going?
No, you're on a roll. Let's just go for it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just interrupt me anytime.
Okay.
So that's great. You know who I am, but why am I here, right? Why the heck am I here? So I hope today I can help you share some information with you on how you can optimize your YouTube channel as well as your mindset. I believe that you can build a great following by focusing solely on your audience and the value you offer them for free. That's all it is. So instead of thinking about, again, keyword tags, title tags, whatever it is, I think that you can focus your time on helping the person who interacts with your brand online instead of worrying about keywords, tags, thumbnails, all these things that people spend so much time thinking about. Now, I'm not saying these aren't important. I'm not saying it's not important to have a good thumbnail. I'm not saying it's not important to have a good title tag. But I think most of you guys know, based on watching these other great sessions that I've seen and I was watching before this, how to actually set this stuff up. But this is a tiny bit of a different approach. We're just going to change your mindset for a little bit, take it away from the optimizations for the platform. Let's think about optimizing for the user. So why would we do this, right? Most businesses want to generate views, engagement, and sales. That's a given, right? Everybody wants more sales, they want more views, and they want more engagement. But these are these not all results of offering something valuable to the person interacting with your brand? If I give something to somebody, chances are if they think it's valuable, they're going to want to give back, whether it's engagement, whether it's a sale, whether it's a view. So we want to think of ways that we can bring value to our viewers so that they want to give back. Now, how do we do that, right? And it's all about building relationships with people. So a lot of the people that I'm actually seeing in the chat right now, I want to thank, by the way, people in here. I recognize Tanya, I recognize AR Skills Learning, Scott, Alan, thank you guys for being here. Craig Campbell. A lot of these people in here are actually people that I interact with almost every day. And, again, this is a privilege that I get because I spend my time trying to build relationships with people that I really care about. I really care about building a community of other people. Look at all these people right here. Justin, Dave, all these people in here, they're all interacting with me and they know who I am. And so they help pump me up. They help me feel good about what I do. And that's because, again, I work on building relationships with people by offering them as much value as I can for 100% free with no other reason besides just helping you guys. I don't want to sell anything. In the long run, yes, I want to make money, but in the short term, I'm focusing on just helping because I like to help, and I want my brand to be recognized that way. So, and we'll go, hold on. Let me just say something, by the way. I'm going to show you guys some real examples of how this actually really did give me value. I don't want you guys to think, oh, helping's great and everything, Chase, but we need to make money. I'm going to show you how this actually led to rankings, views, sales, all these things. But before I do that, I want to tell you why I do this. There's my trademark giant gallon of water. So how do we build relationships? It all begins with the thing that you offer for free. And if you can't offer something valuable to your visitor for free, they don't have a reason to come back, engage, or buy. So again, while everybody's focused on, or a lot of people are focused on ranking number one, why not rank number one for your customer? Why not rank for the person who's going to first see you and they have no idea who you are? 99% of people's traffic and visitors, whether it's to a YouTube video, whether it's to a website, they're going to hit the website. They're not going to have any idea who you are, and they're going to probably leave. So you want to give them something that they can hold on to, something that you can invite them in with a relationship. And I'm going to give you some examples of what I do to invite people into relationships with me. So value is also specific to your actual user, right? So the closer you can get to understanding what you can provide to help as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time, the more efficient you become at creating relationships. So for instance, if I started offering, here's the best, most technical guide to schema markup, that's only going to be helping a certain amount of people who are very technical, people who know SEO very well, and they want to learn schema markup. Now, if I create a guide on, maybe the best SEO checklists out here, now I'm creating a checklist or some sort of opt-in or some sort of value that people can use that's on a wider scale. It's maybe targeting somebody who's new or targeting somebody that, might not be so new and they have some experience. Whatever I'm doing, though, is I'm trying to help as many people as I can in the shortest amount of time. So that's where I come up with most of my content. And just like I was saying before with the other stuff, I'll go a little bit more deep as well on how I actually use this value to build content around versus building the content and then trying to get somebody to opt in, right? I build the opt-in first. I build the thing that I'm giving to people, and then I build the content that leads to that opt-in. So don't let me just preach this to you. I want to show you a few things that I really care about building for the person who may opt into a relationship with me online. We still good, by the way, guys? We all
good, mate. Keep it going.
I'm seeing some smiles, so I do appreciate those. So first of all, this is an SEO Pro template that I created. This is an audit template. I've spent a good amount of time creating this checklist. It's completely free. And what this checklist is it just takes you through different steps for a website. It has a bunch of resources in it. It has, okay, first, we do analytics, then we do web design, then we do technical SEO. And I actually have one of these tabs messed up here. It's supposed to be, I'll get my little pointer out. Click-through rate optimization is supposed to be way over here. Don't know why it got over there. But it's just a little checklist. It's what I use for my audits. And a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll do live streams and I'll actually show people, hey, look, this is my process. This is the client I'm doing an audit for. And then I offer them that audit. I say, hey, look, this is the audit I'm going to be doing. But if you want to go grab the checklist and do an audit on your own, go ahead. Here's the link. I'm not asking for a sale. There's nothing in there besides, I think maybe in the front part there might be like a plug for a paid version. I'm not really sure. I don't even think it's in there right now. But again, I'm more concerned about somebody grabbing that checklist and then me doing a future video and helping them more with, hey, this is another thing I use the checklist for, or I added something new to it. And having people be able to discover on their own how to actually do what they were looking for. When somebody goes and does SEO, they don't want to just, have the option to buy from you. They want to have the option to be able to do it themselves and be able to learn on their own and be able to understand it in their own way. So that's one example. So 3/4 of my time during the month is going towards helping people for absolutely free because I love to help. So 3 weeks out of the month, all I'm doing is I'm just thinking about, okay, for instance, this webinar or this presentation, all I'm trying to do is just trying to help. I'm not trying to sell anything. It's because I really do like helping. I feel passionate about it. I like changing people's mindsets. I like changing people's businesses. I like changing people's lives. That's just something I enjoy doing. 1/4 of the time, I'm going to think of ways that I can make money because I need to make money. It's a business, right? how I can help these relationships that I've been building more than just my free content and whatever my, opt-ins are, whatever my checklists are, whatever I'm giving away for free. And so what I do for that is I actually ask people when I build these relationships, I say, what would you like? When I ask people in chat or when I ask people in Facebook or ask people on email or wherever they're at, I have a Facebook group, I have a Discord channel, I have all these different places. And I ask everybody, so, hey, look, what would you actually like? If I were to give you something, maybe not for free, what would be the thing that you'd want and how much would you be willing to pay for it? So I'm completely transparent with my marketing when I actually, by the time I actually sell something, I ask people what they want, I give them what they want, and that's all I care about. Now, there's actually a secret system I use though, and this is where it starts to getting into a little bit more optimization. This is a secret that I've used to grow any asset, whether it's my clients' assets, whether it's my YouTube channel, whether it's my website. This system right here is the system that any of you can take right now, and I guarantee you it will improve any single business you work on. So this system relies on the principle of reciprocity. And that means when you give something for free to people, they want to give back. For example, all the people in chat right now, if I'm giving you something valuable, let me know right now, comment, say, hey, thank you. Let me know what you think, right? People want to give back to the thing that they feel good about. When something is given to them, they want to reciprocate. So whenever I give away my SEO checklist or whatever free content I give away, I ask for that new or existing relationship to give me an engagement by commenting, reviewing, liking, or whatever it is I'm working on growing. So doing this allows me to build natural credibility like I do with what I'm about to show you. And by building this natural credibility, people are more likely to convert into a sale, convert into a relationship, and I'm more likely to bring in views, engagement, every metric that comes from the result of having a brand that really gives out something that people want. So here's an example. I have a Google My Business with like 567 reviews. Most of them are 5-star. One of them is like somebody getting mad at me because I tried to, I had a World of Warcraft character. I wanted them to help me level. And for some reason, apparently that you're not allowed to do that. So they got really mad at me. But all the other reviews mainly are about the SEO I give out, the checklist, the tutorials. And so again, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to give people value, like for instance, a checklist, and then I direct them for something back. I say, hey, would you mind leaving a review? Would you mind leaving a comment? Would you go to my Facebook post that I gave you this resource on and let me know what you thought? Would you go to my checklist on my website and leave a comment? Tell me what you think. Any single asset you build, whether it's a YouTube video, anything it is, you can ask for value back, and most people will give it to you. Now, the thing is if you're only focused on sales, what happens is people already feel like they gave you the value. They gave you the money. So when you ask for a review or you ask for a comment or something, they're like, hey, look, I kind of already did this for you, right? I already paid you. When you come up with an approach that's different, where it's how do I give out value without asking for anything except maybe a comment or some sort of engagement just to let me know what you think, people are 100 times more likely to help you grow your brand on any asset you want. Any asset. That's it. Period. End of sentence. Done. So again, if you can come up with this system, and guess what? This system is actually a lot easier than you probably think. So check this out. I actually have a little flow in here. I actually use ManyChat for this, but you can use whatever you want. And ManyChat, by the way, is a platform that lets you message people on Facebook. So when somebody grabs my checklist, what happens is it takes them to a Facebook Messenger conversation and asks them, hey, could you type in your email? And so this flow right here is the exact flow that I've used to grow pretty much any asset just by utilizing the engagement and the value, the reciprocation principle I was telling you about to get value back. So here you can see when somebody, let's say they grab this free SEO checklist on my website and they go say, hey, yeah, let me download it. It takes them to a messenger chat and it says, hey, first name, in order for me to send you my checklist, I need you to reply with your exact email so I can send it to your inbox right now. They leave their email and it says, okay, great. I'm sending you the checklist. Would you do me a favor and leave a comment from the page you got it from? And they say, sure. And most people do it. I send them the checklist. I send them some of my other resources. It's all completely free. I'm not asking for a sale. And then what I'm doing at the very end is I say, hey, look, just in case you need to get a hold of me, Facebook's kind of a hard place to do it because I have so many people message me on Facebook Messenger and wherever else. I give them my personal phone number. And the coolest part about this is I get so many people texting me, calling me, I get hundreds of messages and they're all saying, hey, Chase, thank you so much. You really helped me out. You really changed my business. I just wanted to say thank you. Or they have questions and I can answer their questions. But it feels good when I see people interacting with me, interacting with my brand and telling me, hey, look, this really helped me out. And it helps me wake up in the morning and feel good about, creating the content I do and helping people with the resources I help them with, because people really do appreciate when you give them things without any expectation. Now, how do you monetize this though? Because I've been talking about, oh, here's how you do it for free. Here's how you do it for free. Once you have your value offer, you just want to be really good at building stories. So a lot of the time when I'm doing content or I'm building, something that leads to that offer, I'm going to be talking about how I went from point A to point B. So, if I'm going to do a video on, maybe some checklists I did, my content's going to be about, here's what I did to go from having a website with 10,000 visits to 100,000 visits. And then I offer them the checklist. This is the checklist that I used. So when you have stories, people want to stick around. When you're just the type of person that's doing tutorials and teaching, the problem with that is there's so many other people that are kind of doing that content kind of already exists. People want to learn from what's unique about you. They want to know why they should like you. They want to know why they should be like you or why they shouldn't be like you. You want to show your visitors who you are and why. And it's the same thing with your brand. Let's say you're not a personal brand. Let's say you still have a business brand that's encompassing a bunch of people. You still want to show why your brand is the way it is. And you want to most importantly be opinionated. I get comments all the time where they say, hey, Chase, what you're saying isn't nice. Or, what you're saying is too nice or something, right? That's their opinion. Just like how I stated my opinion. And, your job is not to necessarily be liked. It's to help. And if your helping gets in the way of certain people, that's just how it is. That's really why for me, I don't want to lose my voice. I don't want to lose my opinion just because I'm catering to what other people say they think I should be saying. Make your brand about what you like. Make your opinion loud and make, what you do important because you like doing what you do and you like helping people in the way you do. So again, you're the pro, not me. That's the biggest thing, right? I want you to learn from my mistakes or my successes, but I really want you to take something I do and make it better. I'm not making this about me. I'm trying to make this about you guys. The people who are watching this right now, it's more important that, you actually learn something or you take something from what I'm saying today and it actually changes something about your business or your life. That's the only thing I care about. I don't care if you guys go off and do something else or maybe you just think I'm full of it. That's totally fine. But I don't help because I expect to get something back. I help because I love helping. I like building relationships. I like optimizing. I like getting up and seeing all the messages from people saying thank you. Build something that makes you feel the same way. If you're getting up in the morning and you're trying to do a YouTube video that you don't care about, or you're trying to do a keyword tag that has nothing to do with helping people, you're doing the wrong thing. It's so important. It's so important to optimize for a person. If you're going to change a title tag, make it for the person. If you're going to change a keyword tag and you really want this to show up, make it for the person. But do that on top of being a great brand, doing it on top of being a great storyteller and a great person to build relationships with. So remember, brands exist because of their users, not vice versa. Your user does not exist because of your brand, right? If you want to build something that does well online, figure out how to satisfy your user, not your wallet. The money, the views, and even the sales come in, but it's a result of being amazing at satisfying your user. When you are the best of the best and you are unique to what you do, people end up compensating you in more ways than you could ever imagine. So I hope you guys are somewhat satisfied. I don't want to make this a long presentation. I want to give time for other people to talk. I was given about 30 minutes today to present, right? And this is just the very tip of the iceberg. The reason I didn't deep dive into specific optimizations is because there are people out there way better than me at doing like all these crazy things on YouTube. Like I'm sure Carla and Itamar and even Luke probably know way more about me than, using best titles and keywords and all these things. The truth is I don't usually even add descriptions to my videos. If you look at my videos, there's not even a description there most of the time. We all need to improve at something, right? I could probably use a lot of advice that these guys are about to share, right? So last thing I want to leave you is with this, stand out. If you can't differentiate yourself from the other 99% of people who do what you do, you will be categorized, and you want to become your own category. Become unique enough for people to remember you and want to see more, right? Try to figure out what others are doing well and do it in your own way that is somehow more helpful based on what you love or what you like to do. So that's pretty much it. I think that's everything I did. I just want to thank everybody who's here today, the panelists, everybody who's here in chat for saying, hey, what's up, and supporting me, and everybody here. And I'm overpaid every day to be able to do what I do. So thank you. And thank you, Semrush, for having me on here as well. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you very much indeed for sharing that, Chase. That was incredible. I would never have guessed in any way that you were nervous while you were doing that presentation. So that was that was quite funny. Also, as well, how much water are you drinking? Because I have made it a point not to drink any water because I'm going to be on here for like 3 hours, and I'm so thirsty, and I'm just watching you drink what appears to be about a gallon of water. I think. So.
It's funny actually. When I first started YouTube, I would always have this. And I drink so much water that people started associating me with like Dasani, and they said I should have gotten sponsored by them. But yeah, sorry if that's irritating. I know some people get really irritated by me drinking water. I'm so sorry.
I'm not irritated in the slightest. I'm just very jealous. You've had lots of nice comments coming through, so I'm guessing you have brought quite a few of your audience through, but definitely a lot of people saying very positive things about you. So the things that you said in your presentation about, providing value and building relationships, clearly you've done that with your own channel. That's obviously quite clear to see. Carla, Itamar, just out of curiosity, what are your initial thoughts after having seen Chase's presentation? Obviously, we've discussed this a little bit before, and the approach is in some ways unique, and in other ways, it's actually kind of almost like best practice in a way, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely is, and a lot of what Chase has talked about and put into practice is really the way that the direction that YouTube is going. So I don't know, like last week, or the week before, they introduced a new metric for monetization, the RPM metric, as opposed to the CPM. And the RPM metric is really geared towards how successful you are as a creator within your community. So you can't just put content out on YouTube now, sit back and expect it to fly, because if your audience doesn't buy into you as a personality or to your brand, as and every brand has a personality as well, it's going to be a massively wasted effort. You're not going to be able to compete. And I think, again, not putting too many of your eggs in one basket and building out communities on other social and online video platforms is also pretty essential right now, so it doesn't get taken away from you by YouTube. So
yeah, I think there's always the concern if you put all your eggs into one basket or base your business model around a single platform that eventually something will change. The platform might not necessarily disappear. I don't see YouTube going anywhere anytime soon, but even if it just changes something about the way that it operates, that could have a big impact on your business. So having a lot of platforms that you're working with can certainly minimize some of that risk, I guess.
Yeah, and don't forget, at the end of the day, YouTube is free for users, so they're supporting. They're ingesting all of the costs. So, but actually, YouTube owes you nothing as a creator. It's kind of up to you to provide value, as Chase said. It's all about the value to the viewer. But yeah, I mean, look at, we saw last year where specifically for content creators who were building, who were publishing videos around kids content had the carpet pulled right from under them. Massive drops in revenue and that kind of relationship building. So yeah, I think Chase is kind of absolutely on the right track. It's where we're going with, And also, the main thing, you can't game those relationships and that engagement in the way that you can buy views, or that's kind of it's a one-time thing. But with the engagement, and I really liked kind of Chase's chart. It's like step one, and then I get back to them, and they get back to me, and I take them there. Awesome, love that.
And Itamar, in some ways, his approach is very kind of unique, I suppose, for most people who are on the YouTube platform. But in other ways, the principles of providing value are still kind of like the core principles that most YouTubers will probably follow. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when you're creating video content on YouTube and you want it to grow, you need to think, well, first of all, before I even upload a video, who is it that I'm targeting and what is it that they want to consume? And then when you get these right, then you start creating content. But I think, Chase's story and his channel, it's really an inspiration because he does things a lot differently than what I do when I'm trying to grow. And I think his model is very future-proof. And I'll explain why that is. So, with his whole kind of value in, value out proposition, he's giving away value for free. And in exchange, he's asking for this engagement. And so if he's trying to grow a YouTube channel, he will say to people who have already liked the value that he's given, and then he will ask them to reciprocate, and then they will subscribe to the channel. And most likely, because they already invested in him, they will continue to watch his channel. They will continue to watch his videos fully, so his watch time goes up. And then you've got all of these positive engagement signals from YouTube perspective, and they're thinking, wow, this content creator right here, this guy knows what he's doing, and we're going to bump up his video. So, and I think to kind of link that in terms of people who are wondering, well, I still want to use the whole relevancy stuff. I still want to optimize my videos with the titles, the tags, descriptions. You can still do that. But at the end of the day, when you think of how many creators there are out there on YouTube who are trying to get that relevancy and they're trying to all optimize their video titles, how is YouTube going to differentiate between all these videos? It's all about the engagement and the quality. So if YouTube understands that these viewers are liking this video content, they're going to be putting it up much higher than all the rest of the people. So I think, in some ways, Chase is really maximizing on these engagement and the quality signals. And it's also interesting because, Chase, when we spoke before, kind of when we were planning the session, and you mentioned that your YouTube search counted for 40% of your YouTube traffic. And with a lot of your videos, you don't even put descriptions on them. So it just kind of shows how, relevancy is becoming less important, and it's more about the engagement from YouTube's perspective in terms of what they rank.
I might argue a little bit with you there. I just want to answer a question. Homebrew audio, if you go into YouTube Studio and then into your analytics dashboard, you'll see that if you're monetized, if you have a 4,000 hours watch time and 1,000 subscribers, you'll find it on the within the analytics page, just next to the CPM dashboard that's usually there. So
yeah, it's just the middle tab under the revenue section.
Yes, sorry, I missed that bit, under the revenue tab. Yes. So I'm just gonna kind of so I totally agree with Chase and Itamar, what you said. I think that there is. So building these relationships and building this engagement is incredibly hard work. So I would always say for brand new creators to optimize the hell out of everything first of all as you're starting to build that community. YouTube, there's so many signals that YouTube looks for now, but but they also give you lots of opportunity. They give you lots of places within the publishing dashboard and the optimization dashboards for you to put that content in there. So I think when you get to a stage where your community and audience are strong enough that they support you, and you can see the really big YouTubers, they don't optimize their titles or descriptions or anything. But as a starter, I would say that optimization is important.
I agree, and I think a big mistake a lot of people make, particularly when they're starting out. So I used to help a lot of vloggers online get started, and I would give them all this advice, and they'd always say to me, well, Casey Neistat doesn't do that. I'm like, yeah, well, Casey Neistat has, at the time, 8 million subscribers. He doesn't need to do anything anymore. He can literally put the most simple clickbaity title, whatever it is, people are going to watch it. It's a completely different kind of
It is, but he wouldn't have got where he is without that whole building that relationship and that community. So Casey Neistat is, you know, well known beyond YouTube. He's, you know, he's built a huge presence for himself. So yeah, it's Mr. Beast, even PewDiePie. Like PewDiePie can do what he likes, and will always get 2 or 3 million views on his videos because he's built this army of fans. You know, like Chase is encouraging everyone to do. So yeah, I think it's no longer easy just to be an online video creator. You have to think about what on earth you're doing, what value do you offer anybody, and then start from there.
Yeah, just to add to that as well, I think it's really important that people understand that it's not everything to be ranking for YouTube search, because I get clients who say to me, well, I want to rank #1 on YouTube for these kind of terms. And I'm saying, well, you know, why do you just want to focus on YouTube search when you've got all of these other sources that you can get traffic and you can get people to go and watch your content and also to subscribe? So, for example, in my case, I think in the last 28 days, about 37% of my views came from YouTube search, but I've had almost 20% coming from external, with the majority from places like LinkedIn and Twitter. So what people need to remember is you need to first find out where your audience are hanging out and then create content and target them directly to the places they're going to be at. And then they're more likely to want to then move on to YouTube and watch your videos and subscribe. So obviously when you're starting out and you want to grow, you know, don't just put all your eggs into optimizing your video tags and trying to really just get the YouTube search right, but also trying to think of where your users are actually hanging out, because a lot of them might not even be on YouTube. So you do need to kind of do that research beforehand to figure out where they're hanging out.
That's a really good point, because so for instance, if you were trying to build that community out on LinkedIn and you were using video content for that, the optimization best practices that you've put into that particular YouTube video will work on for YouTube potentially, because they're picking up all the signals. But if you upload that video or use it as a link on LinkedIn, that's not going to help you on LinkedIn. What you have to bring value, you have to talk to the audience on LinkedIn in a different way. So you can be using content, but if you don't bring your message over, it's just another video link. And how bored are we of all of them? It's just noise constantly. But if you like, you know, I created this about this particular thing, and this will help you. And again, it really comes back to knowing your audience, providing value to building that relationship.
Mm-hmm. Out of curiosity, this is more aimed at Chase actually. So obviously it's a bit of a misperception that people, when they first come to YouTube, they think, well, search traffic's probably where a majority of the traffic's going to come from. But obviously in reality, it's different. It's probably through suggested traffic, for example, or YouTube's recommendation engine. Now, at the moment, Chase, you're saying that, you know, for a lot of your videos, you don't even provide descriptions with them, but you still get like 40% search traffic at the moment, which suggests that the behavior metrics are working very well for you. However, at the moment, your channel's pretty established. You got 36,000 subscribers at the moment. Did you always not fill in your descriptions and things, or did you used to do a little bit of optimization when you first started? How did you get going?
Yeah, so when I started out, I was doing everything I could to rank. Because I had 0 subscribers and I just needed to find something that would work. So I was doing huge descriptions, and I was trying to find the best keywords. And I mean, everything that I did was about trying to get the most views possible so that people would end up contacting me so they could buy SEO. And I'm not saying that any of that's wrong. I had videos that ranked very well. For a while, was ranking like for all kinds of stuff like SEO guide, and I don't even know what I rank for. I mean, most of the time I'm not even really that concerned, because what I'm thinking about more is, so there's a difference between doing keyword research for a search engine versus doing keyword research for a user. And my big thing is, like, I don't really necessarily do keyword research anymore. I just try to build an opt-in that has all the things I do in it. And then I build content that replicates what that opt-in provides. So if I hear from people that they really want to learn how to do keyword research, I could create a opt-in that shows exactly my layout for choosing keywords, selecting the keywords for videos, whatever that solution is. But then my goal is to create content that leads to that opt-in. And then I build that opt-in to have people go back to that content and leave engagement. And so what I find is that I get so much engagement that this stuff generally ranks naturally. And I don't have to worry as much about outranking people for keywords because my brand is, in most of the case, more authoritative for a lot of the things that I make. So that content gets dispersed to people at a higher rate. So one more thing I want to mention, I'll stop talking. You can rank on search engines, but wouldn't you rather rank in people's news feeds? So when people are online, most of them are busy. They're either on Facebook or on YouTube. They have 100 tabs open. So I'm much more interested in controlling my traffic so that when I push a button, people are going to see me show up if they see me on Facebook or if they see me on YouTube. And what I found is that when people are on YouTube, there's channels with 500,000 subscribers that get 200 views. Why is that? And it's because the content that they're producing generally doesn't get engaged with. So the more engagement that you can create and the more you can build content for the user and have that user feel really like they got fulfilled with that content and they're willing to come back and leave that engagement, the more that content gets dispersed to the next user, whether it's somebody that knows you or somebody that doesn't. That's kind of my theory behind what we're talking about.
Yes,
Sorry,
totally. I just going to say I totally agree. And I've seen a lot of channels the same, where they're slowly building good subscriber numbers, but those viewers aren't coming back. So it's almost as if that viewer saw one good video, subscribed, and just walked away and never came back because that content creator can't offer them. Either it was a viral video, so I think the whole got to get a viral video on YouTube is just not sustainable.
Viable long term. Yeah, exactly.
No, not at all. So I'd like to ask Chase a question, actually. Are there any particular analytics, and I'll talk about YouTube here, are there any particular analytics or metrics for YouTube that you take notice of? I imagine your watch time is through the roof because you're doing live streams, etc. But things like audience retention or other engagement metrics, what's important to you to understand and to build upon?
Yeah, so I should be a lot more technical with my approach because a lot of what I say should be backed by like actual analytics and science. The problem is that like for me, I'm generally so busy coming up with things that I like that if somebody doesn't, like if I make a video and a ton of people don't like, if I don't get a good amount of engagement, like people don't like it, they don't stick around, they're not watching it, the last thing I'm going to do is try to go build more content like that. Now, yes. If I was more mad scientist, Chase, which I should be, a lot of the time I'll make content and then I'll go on to the next thing and I'm constantly just thinking about everything that's going on. I would be more technical and I would think, okay, yeah, this video got a 3-minute average session duration where this one got a 5-minute and the drop-off rate was this. The problem is that for me, I don't know what it is. I like being really technical, but sometimes it gets to the point where it almost feels overloading to think about that much information at once. I think that as long as I hear from people that they're really liking my stuff and I'm, asking them constantly, hey, how do you guys feel? What do you think about this? When I go into chat and I'm saying, hey, do you guys enjoy what I'm talking about here? That to me is for the moment enough. But yes, I think it's definitely very important to figure out, analytics are extremely important. And if you could deep dive and see, oh yeah, these are my bounce rates and these are my click-through rates and this is the stuff that works really well. I mean, you're going to find out so much information that's super valuable. It just really depends on how your brain works as well, because some people, while they're, super focused on the technical, others can be, super focused on just liking to be in front of people and speaking and all these things. I think the biggest thing though that you have to think about if you're trying to grow something is figure out what your strength is and hit really hard on that. Why do people like you? Are you really funny? Are you really nice? Are you really good at, keeping conversations going? Play to your strengths and that's how you grow. Like all these people online, you know, they all do different stuff. Like on YouTube, like I don't get many views at all compared to, you know, some people out there get so many views, and you know, they're the most random thing. Some people just do have like little iPhone videos, but they'll get millions of views, and it's because the UX they provide and the value they provide based on what they're doing is really is replicated, or it represents what that person who's watching it is really all about. So the closer you can get to really matching that person, that's the big metric. You know, it's hard to look at though, because you don't always know, you know, maybe it's a 5-minute view duration, but what if you were just feeling really good that day? You know, you can't always tell from analytics.
Mm-hmm. I think just to add to that as well, like when we're talking about the metrics that are important, and I think most people who you'd ask, they say, what's the most important metric? They'll tell you it's subscribers. They'll say, I want to grow my subscriber count. But I think, you know, based on this session going from like 0 to 36K, I think it's important to first get the right subscribers. So just going from 0 to 36K, if it means that 30,000 of those 36K don't really care about your content and they've just subscribed and they're never going to watch a video, that's not going to help you at all. If anything, they'll be, you know, you'll have an adverse effect. So I think, you know, when it comes to persuading people to subscribe to your content, and it's also why you shouldn't do things like sub for sub, because for that same reason, the chances of somebody subscribing to you and liking your content, if they're a random person, is quite slim. And also when people are subscribed, making sure that they're doing it for the right reasons, right? So don't just chase these metrics and think, oh, I've got 36,000 subscribers, that means I'm a good YouTuber. What matters is the actual people who are watching your content. And as Chase said right at the beginning, it's more about optimizing for the user so that they feel like they belong to be part of your subscriber base.
Yeah, really, really great points. I mean, just to give some insight into that as well. I mean, sub for sub's a classic example, but even just making sure that you stick to a niche that your audience is going to be interested in is really powerful. I mean, when I first started, I was doing all kinds of crap just because I was doing things that I thought were fun, or things that it was content I wanted to make because I was making it for me. I wasn't making it for the audience. And as a result, I was making things like, you know, videos about tattoos, videos about cars, videos about fitness. And of course, you know, I've never made a video about tattoos ever since. So if I had 200 people subscribe because of that video, they're going to be extremely disappointed with all of my upcoming content, and chances are they won't have watched a single video.
But that's it though as well, because when you think about, if you're a channel and you're trying to upload many different types of topics, if people are subscribed because they've watched, say, one of the topics, but maybe you haven't, you know, if your channel's not the focus of that topic, then they're just not going to watch anything. So that's why I always say to people, you know, if you're starting a channel from scratch, just stick to one niche. And I think that's probably one of the most important things that you can do. Stick to a niche that you're good at and become consistent with that. Because as soon as you start to upload something else, say, for example, I start a channel on basketball videos, and then people subscribe because of that, right? And then I have one video that's about cricket. Maybe it did really well. Maybe it got loads of views, that video about cricket. But all the people who subscribe, and then they see on the home feed, if my video comes up about basketball, they'll be like, well, you know, I didn't subscribe for this. And then they'll either unsubscribe or just not engage with your channel at all.
It's really hard advice for a creator to take on board, especially when they're starting on, like, YouTube's a fun thing, but they almost have to reverse what they do. So like you said, Itamar, to go in with a focus, doesn't have to be laser focus, but at least some direction. It's when you have built that community and audience space, that's when you can start to deviate a little bit, like, you know, and you can build, because at that point the audience is with you. And I think for any channel, whatever size, yes, you can do it. You know, you can do an outlier, fantastic video, and you'll pick up some views and subscribers, but ultimately the audience will keep coming back because of you and your personality, or the brand's personality. And then to go back to Chase's point, that takes a lot of brand building. It takes a lot of relationship building and understanding who that audience is and how you take the audience with you every time through your YouTube journey and across other platforms. So it's almost the reverse advice. Go in with if you're creating an online presence, be really clear about, is it sustainable, and does it talk to your audience? If you want to kind of make it long term and to generate some revenue from it. So, but yeah, it's not easy.
Definitely not. I'm just conscious of time, and I'm aware that we haven't actually answered any questions from our chat yet. So I'm just going to start quickly bringing some up, if that's okay. So, number one, we have a question from Jennifer Packard. Do you have any insight on how a dealership can build their YouTube channel effectively? I'm here to learn and absorb info. Fairly broad question. I can start if you like.
Yeah, go for it. It's a good question.
Okay, so a dealership. So first thing I would do is have a look and see what other dealership channels are doing. There are definitely a lot of big dealership channels that are out there, and then think about the kind of content that you could create and that you can create on a long-term basis consistently. I think one of the key things from being a dealership is that you're going to have access to cars, so you might be able to provide insights into those vehicles that other people maybe aren't able to provide. And then also think, like, from Chase's perspective, what kind of value can you offer to your audience? So for example, can you give them information about financing? Is there things about things they need to know when they're actually making purchase decisions that they might need to know? Any kind of valuable information that you can provide would be a really good starting point, I think. That's probably going to be a very long answer to that question if I'm not careful. Guys, do you want to jump in on that?
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
go on.
No, go on. You go first.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when you think of a car dealership on YouTube and you think, if you're trying to get people to subscribe to the channel, you might have customers that only use you one time and that's it. So I think when you think of the long term and the types of content you're uploading, you've got to think about, what kind of content will people want to come back to, right? So not only focusing, I suppose, in getting leads, right? Because that might be one of your goals, to get leads from these videos, but also thinking about just the general public. How might you improve your brand through creating content that's engaging enough for people who are car enthusiasts or these types of people to continue consuming your content?
I think that's a great point as well, because I think a mistake that I could see happening is that they use their website, or say they use their YouTube channel as a way of trying to sell individual cars. And of course, once they're sold, all that content becomes completely irrelevant. So I think it'd be a case of making sure you stay away from that type of content. It's stuff that you want people to keep coming back to.
So I would say the number one thing, first of all, not to do is to turn every video into a sales pitch, because there's no quicker way to lose an audience. And then to Itamar's point, it's I think how-to and tutorials are, if not top 5 in the top 10 verticals on YouTube, and that's what people come back for, and there's so much that you could be doing around cars, finance. Like, I could sit here and think of 30 things already, but the last thing that I would say is really think about user intent. So when a user goes on to Google, for instance, and they're searching for, they might know what car they want, but they might be looking for general stuff, and it depends. The user on Google will get served results based on user intent. So if you create a video that doesn't match that user intent, you will not show up on Google, for a start. And also, you won't rank very highly on YouTube, and you won't show up in suggested search. So avoid the sales pitch and look at the how-to and tutorial content, because really that's the stuff that's going to keep people coming back.
Definitely. That sounds like great advice. I'm going to nip through a couple more. I think we've got enough time for maybe a couple more questions. Ace of Spades asks a question directly to Chase. Chase, how do you build authority within a saturated niche?
So when you're starting out, I mean, again, it's kind of like the same sort of answer that we've all been saying, even in the last one. You want to obviously focus on the user, but secondly, what I think the quickest way to really hack your authority is to figure out what the best paid thing is in your market and then make it free. So for instance, if there's some sort of tool or some sort of opt-in or something that people are selling that people really like, just give people something that they would normally pay for and give it to them for free. Because people are going to expect that your paid thing or whatever it is that you're going to offer next is going to be amazing based on the first thing you gave them. It's all about leaving impressions on people. I mean, the real secret to building what I call the new backlink, what people perceive as authority, or what search engines perceive as authority is giving people that thing that makes them want to come back to that relationship. The reason why it's a relationship is because they're coming back, right? So if they're not in a relationship, they're visiting, but they're like, hey, we'll see you later. So you want to figure out what makes people feel good. When you compliment somebody, it makes them feel good. It makes them want to hang out with you. Make people feel good about what you offer. That's all it comes down to. It doesn't matter if you do a certain type of video or a certain type of blog or whatever it is. It just matters that you're making people feel good about what they're getting, whether it's content, whether it's an opt-in, whether it's a tool, whatever it is. You want people to think that they got more than they gave back, right?
I think a big thing for me as well would be to try and differentiate yourself from other people. So if you're in a very, very saturated arena, what is it that people like about those people and what is it they dislike about them? And I think more often than not, people have a lack of trust for people that are within certain niches. So if you can identify yourself as, for example, I'm not sponsored by anybody, I'm being honest in what I'm saying, you give a kind of trustworthy, transparent approach, that can definitely help you build an authority over those other perhaps potentially bigger influencers, for want of a better word.
True. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else want to add anything to that one? We've probably got enough for maybe one question more. Maybe I can squeeze one in. Let's have a look what we've got here. Okay, this is one from Ismail. Chase, how do you deal with sharing client content? I mean, do you ask clients to allow sharing their projects publicly? I have lots of clients, but they want to be private.
So one of the ways that I try to differentiate my channel than other like stuff out there is that, most people, like they were saying, or I forgot the name. It was Ismail or Israel. Yeah. Again, my big thing is trying to be different than what other people are doing, because I want something that makes people feel like, oh, that was kind of weird. Like that's new. And so I know that people, my clients are not going to usually want to see their stuff on YouTube. Oh, here's how I ranked them. Go do it. Right. But I think a lot of the time they're willing to work with me because they have seen my past history, my success. So they're like, hey, whatever, I'm not paying as much as I probably should for Chase if he was behind the scenes. So that's kind of one of my angles is, I try to broadcast what I do live so you guys can see step by step what I'm doing. Again, my big strategy besides offering the opt-in, offering that thing that's going to make you feel good is that unique perspective that you wouldn't normally get in other places. You want to figure out, like, part of being good at SEO or optimizing anything is figuring out what everybody else is doing and then be like, hey, I could probably do it a little bit differently. It's almost like, Apple, it's like think different, right? You want to think of ways that you can make your stuff more user-friendly based on what else is already out there. If you're just doing what everybody else is doing, your brand is no longer unique. It's just categorized. It's just, I'm an SEO. I don't want to be just an SEO. I want to be, Chase Reiner that does this thing really well and it's unique.
Awesome. Okay, I think we've probably got a chance or time rather for one more. Let's try and find one that looks like I might have a quick answer. Okay, healing with Qui-Gong, I think that's pronounced. Where do I find out where my audience is hanging out?
This is a great question. So again, to go back to Chase's point, you need to align yourself with the audience, first of all. So where are you hanging out? And what kind of content are you consuming so think about it from that way. Honestly, it's as simple as that to start off with. Understand, so if I can't imagine, it's such hard work creating video content. I cannot imagine anyone would do it if they didn't love it and are, passionate about it and are into it. So if you're into it, then find out, where do you hang out and find out from other people in that space. That's as simple as that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just add on to that really quick. So I did actually upload a video on this, but in terms of, I'll just summarize it really quick. So, if you're trying to find your audience online, especially, you need to be looking at multiple different mediums. So, don't go for the traditional on, say, YouTube search or on Twitter, look into Facebook groups, look into LinkedIn, look at LinkedIn groups, look at online communities such as Reddit or Quora. You'll find so many different places that you may not have had any idea that your audience are there, but you might find there are thousands of people who are interested in your content on all of these sorts of different platforms. So obviously just do your research and be thorough with it. So it does take time, obviously, but if you do it right, you'll have much more success.
And also, what a rich source of content ideas from that audience, right? So brilliant advice, Itamar.
Perfect. And I just like to correct myself on something. It was healing with Qigong, not Qui-Gong. I took a guess and I was wrong. Okay, so that's probably all we have time for. Very quickly, guys, where can everybody find you if they want to follow up? Chase, start with you. Where can people find you online?
Just myname.com.
Well,
not myname.com, chasereiner.com.
Just correct you there, chasereiner.com. Itamar?
I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can find me at itamarblauer.com.
Perfect. And we've just had our Twitter handle shared there. And Carla?
So there's my Twitter handle, but vidIQ, just type vidIQ in. We're on all of the major social channels. We should be #1 in the search results for that. So find us that way.
Amazing. Great stuff. Well, guys, listen, thank you very much for your time. Big thank you to you, Chase, for that presentation. There's some really great insights in that. Thank you very much for doing that. Yeah. And I will see you guys later. We're on to the next session, I believe.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.